Hey, I'm MeiLani Hock from Why Not Me Airbnb. Thanks so much for joining us. We're gonna do so many great things in the next few hours. I'm glad you're here. But first, before we get started, I wanna introduce myself because we're gonna be friends. So just a little background on me. These are my 5 beautiful children. I love them. They are my world. They are my everything. They are my why. Of course, if you're in real estate investing, you know we are always talking about our why we do what we do. Well, I wanna tell you a little story about one of my sweet children. This is MeiLani. This is my baby. She is the perfect caboose to my basketball team. I love her so much. She is a handful. She is 2 years old. And if any of you have kids, you'll know that a 2-year-old is so much fun, but can be a lot of work. Well, recently I was headed over to Cancun and for a speaking engagement, and before I had even gotten on my airplane, I get a picture from my babysitter of this. Okay, so when you see this picture of a 2-year-old, that's not a good thing. In fact, this position is a terrible thing for a 2-year-old. That is like a little dog saying, oh my goodness, I did something terrible. So I got this picture not knowing what exactly had happened. And upon further investigation, I realized a couple more things. I noticed that my babysitter also sent me a picture of a cut up couch. And all of a sudden the pieces started coming together because many times in the previous couple months, I had taken away scissors from my daughter. MeiLani had set a goal over and over again of wanting to cut up something. And I forgot to pass that information on to my babysitter. And so she had these scissors that she started cutting up the couch, her dress, and also her hair. So I get this picture and there goes my little MeiLani's piggies, gone, because she had set a goal of wanting to play with scissors, who I cannot tell you the amount of times that she climbed up onto my bathroom counter, grabbed the scissors, and was ready to start cutting anything. I, of course, kept on taking it away. I forgot to pass it on to the babysitter. Now we're going to talk about that more in a little bit. It wasn't just a story just about MeiLani, but we're going to apply it to us in just a little bit as well. This is my background. My name is MeiLani Hock, and I am an award-winning real estate investor. I've done rehabs, I've flipped houses, I've done new constructions, I've done notes, I've done long-term investing, I've done coaching, and of course, why we're here today, I really love short-term investing, short-term rental investing. But this is also the real me. Like I said, I have 5 kids. My oldest is 10 years old, and they are my why. They are what make up me. And that is my constant struggle between work me and the real me. I don't know if you've ever had that feeling, but trying to balance work life with family life and trying to decide where to put your priorities every single day. It's something even as real estate investors, especially with the freedom of our time, that we have to decide that every single day. Well, this is my sweet husband. When we first got married, we were pretty cheap when we used to go on dates together, and we would have these long walks, and that's how I fell in love with him. Not over fancy dinners, but on long walks where we would talk about our dreams. We would talk about how we wanted to be entrepreneurs, how we wanted to build our real estate portfolio, how we wanted to flip houses, all of these big things, including wanting to start a big family. Well, you already know we did really well at one of those things. We did the big family, but as we added each new child into our life, we felt that responsibility of these amazing heavenly beings that were now in our care. And with that also came the responsibility to provide for them. So those dreams that we had talked about as a young dating couple and then got married, ready to act on those, as we had these beautiful children, we decided, oh no, we just need something more secure, more stable. Well, we both had regular 9-to-5 jobs. We loved spending time with our kids, but we weren't getting enough of it. We really weren't. And then one day, our lives changed. And that's when my 3rd son, on his 2nd birthday, was diagnosed with brain cancer. My 4th child was only 7 weeks old. So in an effort to battle postpartum depression, because I had really struggled with that after number 3, I was trying to keep my life together. And then when cancer hit, it was really hard. It was a really hard struggle. And in one moment, I realized, what happened to our dreams? How did we get to this point? what if I lose my son? And this last 2 years was all I had with him. And most of that time was spent at night times trying to squeeze it in after school, after I got home from work, burnt out from my 9 to 5. And I realized that is not what we came into this life to do. This is not what we set out to do. So as me and my husband, we started talking about this, and we started going to radiation treatments, and we started doing all these different things. And at this point, my friends kept on asking, do you just sit there and think, why me? Why our family? Why did this happen to us? And maybe you've ever had that in your life, that you think, why me? Why? Maybe you see it on Facebook, somebody doing something exciting, and you think, why can't I do that? Why can't I do that? Do you ever feel that, why me? Because as we reviewed it, we realized we didn't feel that. Instead, we felt, why not me? Some higher power, whatever that is for you, believes that we can do something better, that we can turn our trials into triumph. So instead of sitting back and thinking, why me? Why me? Instead, we think, why not us? We are tougher than we can even imagine. Our potential is bigger than we can even imagine. And we believe that that higher power has a path of sculpting us into something greater. And I think about being in that hospital room for those first 3 days while he was rushed into brain surgery within 24 hours of his diagnosis, and things just started rolling out of control. And I was getting really good at watching doctors roll my son away and not having any control. And as I talked about before, each of those 5 kids, with each of those responsibility, I tried to control more and more of, we've got to be stable, we've got to be responsible. But realistically, I realized that I was missing out on a great part of life, an amazing part of life, because I was still busy changing my time for money. And if you're in this academy, you know that real estate investing is where you can change that. A great place to build your real estate portfolio so your money's working for you while you sleep. So with our kids, we have a motto. And if you ever meet any of my kids, I dare you to walk up to them and say, Hawks do, and see what they say. Because I promise you, they will say, Hawks do hard things. And I want you to know that each of us can do hard things. And we can turn our trials into triumphs. And as we do so, we will not only think, we won't think, why me? But we will think, why not me? Why not me to do something great? So that's the moment that I got into real estate investing. About 6 months after my son was diagnosed with cancer, I decided to change things up. So I started my real estate company that we had dreamed about 15 years earlier when we were dating, and I finally made the jump. I started a company, and I got awarded Deal of the Year. I got into wholesaling, rehabbing, all those things that we had talked about, and I got to the point where we were running a lot of companies. It was awesome. In fact, I got to one point that I was leveraged. Now, some of you, this is going to be like, oh, chump change. But for me, I was leveraged for about $5 million, and it got to the point that I was burnt out. I was a little bit burnt out. Now, you remember that story about MeiLani that I told you at the beginning? Remember her cute little piggies that got cut off? Because she had set a goal that someday she was going to get those scissors. And she was going to get those scissors, and she was going to do whatever she wanted with them. And my MeiLani, she's a powerful little girl, and she made her dreams come true. She thought Hawks do hard things, and she took that literally, and she went and did it. Now, I saw this on Instagram a couple days after my babysitter had sent this, and I thought it was applicable. And it says, she believed she could, and so she did. And that's what MeiLani did. She believed she could, and so she did. Now, the other half of this picture says, and now she's in timeout. That's the way I felt. I had built up an amazing business of flipping houses, wholesaling houses, new construction. I had set a goal so big, and I had conquered it. However, I was exhausted. And for me, I call it my ambition hangover. Now, I'm a Mormon girl, so I actually don't drink, so I don't know what a real hangover feels like. However, this is kind of what I picture it feeling like with a hangover. Because there were, at this point, when I was leveraged about $5 million, we had some things happen to our properties that that were out of my control. And I felt like I was right back in that hospital room of doctors taking things away from me, and I didn't have control anymore. And that's what I felt like with my business, that I had picky buyers that with these beautiful new construction houses, somehow their inspectors still came up with like a 20-page inspection report of things they wanted changed. Have you ever been there? Or on 2 properties within 1 month, we had different drive-by shootings on our properties. Now, these were beautiful homes, bad luck, I don't know what you want to call it. Different things. We had floods, we had lawsuits, a couple different lawsuits, and one of which with a general contractor that just, it put me in the fetal position, literally. I was curled up in a ball when my husband would have to keep on coming out to my closet and hold me and rock me, and I'm so grateful he did. I'm so grateful he did. Now, some of you are able to manage your wholesaling business, your rehabbing business, whatever it is, and more power to you. But remember how I talked about how my goal in life was to somehow balance my kids, my family, and my work life. And I felt like with rehabbing, I couldn't control it anymore, and I felt one of them was starting to go by the wayside, and that scared me. That scared me so badly. So I went back. And as I was still running my rehabbing business, my wholesaling business, I had to sit down with my husband and I said, what is our dream day? What is our goal here? Why are we even in real estate investing? What's the real plan here? And we talked about each of our goals of what our dream day would look like. I hope each of you have taken the time to do this, not just once, but you need to do it recurring. You need to set every quarter, every month, every year, whatever it is for you. Make sure that you are always keeping yourself in check to make sure whatever you want balanced is really being balanced. Sometimes I have this talk with my husband, and then the next week I find myself rolling into bad habits again. So make sure you're taking the time to do this. Because as I did it, I realized it wasn't rehabbing for me anymore. It wasn't wholesaling houses anymore. I wanted to build a life that I didn't need a vacation from. And with rehabbing, with wholesaling, I still had to be involved. I tried to build up a team. I tried to train my project managers and trust my general contractors. And I kept on getting bit in the butt over and over again. That wasn't it for me. That wasn't it. Maybe someday I'll go back. Maybe I'm like a Michael Jordan retirement kind of girl. But right now, I'm done with that. Because I wanted my time back. And I wanted control over my company again. And I wanted that passive lifestyle, and the reason I had gotten into real estate investing. So I decided that B&Bs were my answer. As I started hearing about it at different podcasts or different meetings, I was like, I can do that. You know what? I can do that, and I can still be a soccer mom. And not only can I be a soccer mom, but I can be a soccer coach. So as we get into talking about Airbnbs, I want you to know that I love real estate investing. I love my background. I love what I've done to get to this point. But B&Bs are such a passive way to get in, build your real estate portfolio with a low entry cost, and build that portfolio. And you don't have to deal with general contractors. You don't have to deal with picky buyers. It's a whole different ballgame that I'm so excited to talk with you about. Now, before I forget, I want you to know that it's been over 5 years since AJ was diagnosed with cancer, and he is doing amazing. He wants to be a stand-up comedian someday. He's amazing on stage. He makes our whole family laugh. He brings joy to my heart every single day that we get to spend with him, and he's doing really, really well. In fact, if you ever need to, work with him, just give him a call. He thought that was appropriate for family pictures. So real quick, we're gonna watch a little intro video to what it is we do, and then we'll jump in and talk more about that in just a second.
Have you ever thought about getting into short-term rentals, but were not sure where to start? Perhaps you have thought about it, but think, it won't work. I don't live in a vacation destination. A down payment costs too much. How much will it cost to furnish and run it? Is it really worth my time? Well, my friend, you are not alone. These are common concerns preventing smart investors every day from getting into the short-term rental game. Don't let those concerns stand in your way. Opening a B&B takes hard work, but isn't hard. In fact, it might be the easiest job to get. You don't even have to put on your fancy interview power suit to land the job. If you're willing to provide a nice clean home, be hospitable, and aim for excellence, then you've got the job. If you put proper systems in place and work smarter, not harder, you are going to love this investment. And here's a little secret. You don't even have to own the property to get the profits. That's right, you can get into B&B investing using other people's properties. That means no big down payments. If big things break, like air conditioning, it isn't your money. But once you love the property, then offer to buy it. Don't get stuck behind your excuses. Let us take you step by step through the process of B&B investing and show you how to master working smarter, not harder, to achieve your financial goals. Visit whynotmebnb.com to learn more today.
So with that video, since we were just talking about AJ, so when we, sometimes I like to get my kids involved, so my assistant was creating it, and she said, like, what kind of tone do you want for the narrator? And I said, well, you know, I was looking at a few and interviewing a few, just interviewing by looking at their Fiverr account and looking at their promo reels, and AJ was in my office, and he said, Mom! You should totally have Mickey Mouse do it, because there was a Mickey Mouse narrator. Anyways, we decided not to do it, but I do like how it turned out. Hopefully that was a good little background. Now let's talk about the pathway that we're going to talk about. This is an important pathway that we go through on how to get you into the B&B business and well on your way to opening your first one, to automating it, to creating the systems, but then also to building and scaling. And as we talk about this, you're going to be amazed. You don't have to be leveraged $5 million, guys. Instead, there's a low entry point and you can scale this thing so fast. When I decided to make the jump, I got in and I started doing, I did 4 in my first 4 months because I was just like, let's do this. Like, let's do this and let's do it right. And as soon as you set up the systems, you can really run this on its own. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about as we go through this today. The first one we're going to, first off, my attorneys make me say this, so make sure that you know that all of your success is completely up to you. This is up to your hard work, your research in your local communities. Make sure that you are doing this smart, okay? Smart investors, work smarter, not harder, okay? And we will turn you into the best Airbnb superheroes that you've ever seen, all right? So, that is the introduction to me, and now we'll just get into the next lesson.